Hello to you, and welcome to the Sleepy Tales by John channel. I'm truly glad that you found your way to this quiet little passage. Perhaps today has been another long day filled with tasks, responsibilities, and conversations you never wished to have. And if you're someone who finds comfort in the beauty of stars, distant planets, or the stillness of outer space, then this may be the perfect place for you tonight. In this video, we're going to begin a new journey, one that will take you far beyond our familiar solar system, carrying you gently away from the invisible noise of life. Tonight, we'll drift together into the darkness between the stars, where distant worlds hide themselves, and where the strangest things become possible. Here, you'll see metallic rainfalls, worlds where fire and ice exist side by side, and giant wanderers, planets without a parent star, drifting quietly through the cosmic night like nomads of the universe. Things that sound impossible, almost mythical, yet all of them are real, unfolding somewhere out there. If these gentle journeys bring you moments of calm, you may softly tap like or subscribe. It helps other tired hearts find their way to this peaceful place. And now, find the most comfortable position for yourself. Let your breathing slow. Let your eyelids fall gently, like two quiet doors closing. We'll begin, and let the universe guide you towards sleep. In the vast darkness of space, a faint bluish light appears in the distance, as if someone placed a tiny flame upon an endless black canvas. That is where we're going, a realm of impossibly hot planets, places where temperatures melt metal and vaporize the most stubborn molecules. If you feel a warm glow spreading in your imagination, don't worry. That warmth can't touch you. It's only a story. Imagine yourself drifting like a tiny grain of stardust, a silent witness with no weight at all. Before you appears a giant sphere of gas, not blazing like the sun, but glowing softly, dimly, like a lantern, veiled in deep blue fabric. This is Kelt 9b, one of the hottest planets ever discovered. Its temperature rises beyond 7,000 DGF, hotter than many red dwarf stars. Can you imagine that? A planet, hotter than a star? Let me tell you more. This planet orbits so close to its parent star that it completes one full orbit in just a little over a day. Here on Earth, we take 365 days to circle the sun, but there, one orbit is a single brief day. Each orbit is a lifetime, a cycle, a perfect loop of existence. So fast you can almost hear time rushing across its surface like a burning wind. And because it clings so tightly to its star, one side of the planet is always blazing, while the other is swallowed in permanent night. No sunrise, no sunset, just scorching brilliance on one side and deep, endless darkness on the other. Can you picture a world like that? One half burning, the other frozen in shadow, both too extreme for life to ever touch. But the strangest thing of all is the atmosphere. It doesn't rest. It doesn't drift gently. It is being torn apart by overwhelming heat, streaming outward into a long tail of gas, like a glowing ribbon, trailing behind every orbit. From afar, Kelt 9b looks almost like a giant comet, its atmosphere peeling away in waves of shimmering heat. And remember, everything you imagine is only an image floating in your mind. You're not touching fire, you're not feeling heat, you're standing on a bridge made of light, looking down at a place where matter becomes a storm, and then returning gently to your own breath. So now, try inhaling slowly and exhaling softly. Feel your breath becoming cooler, more comfortable, as if you're drifting away from that fiery world and settling back into the peaceful air of Earth. The universe is vast enough to create places where temperatures exceed imagination, worlds with no life, No footsteps, perhaps no sound at all. Only the silent fury of matter being ripped apart, blown away, and swallowed by darkness. And because such extreme places exist, the earth, where you lie now, feels unbelievably gentle. A place where you can breathe cool air, where your bed holds you softly, where you can close your eyes at any moment without fear of a star burning too close. The universe is beautiful in ways we may never fully understand. It shows us worlds like Kielt 9b to remind us some things are meant to be admired only from the imagination, before returning to the tenderness of Earth. And as you drift away from that blazing planet, letting it shrink into a dim blue ember behind you, a quiet peace rises in your chest. Because no matter how intense the universe may be, in this moment, you have only one task: to rest. As the fiery planet fades into the endless dark, a soft emptiness expands within you, like stepping out of a scorching room and opening a door into a cool hallway. One gentle breath, and another. The journey continues, and the universe, like a storyteller who never runs out of tales, opens new wonders before you. But this time, instead of storms and torn atmospheres, you step into something like a gallery of ancient secrets. A hallway with no walls, no ceiling, where each step brings forth a floating window, suspended in silence. Touch any of them and a world unfolds. You stand before the first window. There is no sound, no wind, only the strange feeling of gazing into a place both beautiful and terrifying and impossibly vast. This is 55 Cancri E, often called the Diamond Planet. But don't picture glittering gemstones. Beneath its surface lies layer upon layer of jet-black carbon, crushed under unimaginable pressure, compressed over billions of years until it becomes massive slabs of dark diamond. No sparkle, no shimmer, only the deep, heavy darkness of stone. If you reach out your hand, in imagination, you might feel its beauty not in shape, but in stillness. Like touching the quiet soul of a rock. They say the planet is so hot that even stone can soften. And diamond, under such pressure, isn't a treasure. It's simply the natural result of endurance. A world shaped by force. A quiet, meditative truth. You step into the second window. There, the sky opens with a sight rarely seen anywhere in our solar system. Two suns sharing the same sky. Imagine standing on a soft, dusty plain. You're not sure what it is, but you know that ahead of you, two bright orbs dance together. When one rises, the other has not yet set. When one warms the horizon, the other glows red. These are worlds like Kepler 16b, where each day is a duet of light. Twin sunrises, twin sunsets, two shadows stretching from your feet. The two suns braid their light together, like two cosmic breaths, gentle and rhythmic, peaceful as the sound of a distant tide. If you squint, you might see the sky shift in soft layers of color. Violet, gold, pale turquoise. It feels far away, yet strangely familiar. Perhaps because humans have always been drawn to light, but the light here is kinder, softer. Now you move toward the third window, and the moment it opens, a breeze of imagination brushes past your cheek. Not real wind, but the suggestion of a world too immense to name. Before you is HD 17733b, a deep ocean blue planet with no water at all. Its blue hue comes from clouds filled with silicate particles, the very material of glass. And those clouds fall as blades of molten glass rain. But the strangest part is not the rain, it is the wind. At speeds over 7,000 km/h, the glass doesn't fall downward. It sweeps sideways across the sky. Millions of razor-thin shards, glittering like metal dust, flung horizontally through the atmosphere. A place both brutal and breathtaking. So alien, you instinctively step back. And in that very moment, I invite you to return your attention back to a familiar sound. The quiet patter of gentle rain on a rooftop. Cool drops falling like soft notes of a lullaby. No blades, no burning glass, only the tenderness of earth. Where rain exists to soothe, to cleanse, to calm the heart. When the final doorway closes behind you, where the sound of glass rain still echoes faintly in your imagination, you sense yourself drifting through a soft, dark hallway. No more bending light, no more violent winds. Only the steady rhythm of your breath and a silence that spreads outward like calm water. And in that quiet moment, the universe carries you to another realm. One without raging fire or compressed diamond, but filled instead with the vastness of water. Let your mind follow this image. An endless ocean stretching so far that even the eyes of your imagination cannot find its edges. Only a gently curved horizon, like a thin, lingering smile left behind by the night. You are now standing before the ocean world's planets, with no continents, no mountains, no deserts. Nothing but oceans that plunge hundreds, even thousands of kilometers deep. At those depths, the pressure is so immense that water can no longer remain as water. It transforms into strange kinds of ice that is not cold, not clear, but thick, dense, rock-hard, glowing faintly under the planet's dim light. This ice does not float to the surface. It sinks. It becomes the silent skeleton of an entire world. Above these oceans, winds blow only gently, hardly raising waves. Everything moves slowly, as if the whole planet were breathing. A long inhale, a deep exhale, dissolving into stillness. And as you let this feeling drift through your mind, the universe opens yet another scene, stranger than the last, yet beautiful in its own quiet way, the tidally locked planets. Imagine this: one half of the planet forever bathed in day, bright, white, silent light. The other half eternally night, deep, cold, but profoundly peaceful. They do not spin like Earth. They simply keep one face turned toward their star, like someone sleeping on their side for a very, very long time. Between the blazing day and frozen night lies a narrow band circling the planet. The twilight ring, a place where sunlight never fully arrives and never fully fades. A world locked in eternal dusk. The light there resembles a late afternoon that refuses to end, hovering between violet, gold, and pale green. Everything is wrapped in a warm, gentle glow, like the last, soft memory of a beautiful day you wish would never slip away. I want you to try placing yourself there. Imagine standing inside the softest light the universe could ever create. Not too hot, not too cold. No need to squint. No need to strain your eyes. The sky is pale lavender, quiet as water at dawn before it stirs. If life were to exist anywhere, it might choose this place, a gentle transition zone where nothing is forced, nothing is stretched. Everything simply exists in the softest way possible. And in the same way, this is the moment for your mind to rest in the most natural way, not by effort, not by resistance, but by simply letting go. As light gently settles over that twilight ring, a world where time itself seems to breathe a little slower, and you, the traveler drifting between the stars, are allowed to do the same. Inhale softly, exhale gently. and let everything dissolve into the stillness unfolding inside you. When we leave the eternal dusk behind, its violet glow fades like a lovely memory folding itself away. You feel yourself gliding through a thin layer of black velvet. Darkness that isn't frightening at all, but more like a great blanket, slowly draping over every sound, every ripple, every restless thought inside you. Until your breath grows lighter, the space around you grows wider, and ahead, you begin to see another region, a place where planets are no longer obedient children circling a star. Here, worlds are too hot, too dark, too alone, and yet somehow impossibly beautiful. Imagine a forest of planets, not trees, but giant spheres drifting silently in the dark. Every sphere, every dim arc of light, every trail of gas is a story, and all you need to do is float slowly through them, like walking through a nighttime forest, where the ground is soft and the wind does not blow. No need to hurry, no need to remember, no need to understand everything. We simply observe. On your left, you come across the hot Jupiters, giant gas worlds so hot they could melt almost anything. They orbit their stars so closely that a single year passes in a few days, or even a few hours. Their surfaces burn at thousands of degrees, clouds ignite and peel away, forming long streams of red gas, like torches whipped by invisible winds. And yet, everything happens in perfect silence. No explosions, no shrieking winds, no scream of matter being torn apart. Only soft red streaks drifting through space like ink dissolving in water. Light as the breath of a fever dream. And in that silence, they become beautiful. In a strange, melancholy way. Peaceful in a way you wouldn't expect. Then you drift near another world. A planet darker than coal, so black it nearly disappears under starlight. Light touches it and vanishes as if it had never existed. No reflection, no glimmer, no sparkle, only a faint red heat, subtle and weak, like the last warmth left in a fire long gone cold. Up close, it resembles a massive shadow circling its star, leaving no trace, making no sound, revealing nothing about itself. A quiet, private, almost patient world. Continue drifting even slower, and you'll encounter worlds stranger still. Planets without a star, rogue planets. Children cast out of their systems. They have no light to guide them, no sunrise, no sunset, no day, no night. Only pure, complete darkness. And yet, amazingly, deep beneath their frozen crusts, there may still be oceans of liquid water, kept warm by the leftover heat of their birth. In that absolute darkness, a small warmth survives, like the heartbeat of someone who, despite everything, keeps going, gently, quietly. There is something deeply human about those planets, isn't there? When you look at them, those solitary wanderers of the galaxy, you may feel your own heart soften in a way that's hard to describe. And perhaps, in that moment, you understand something very small and very tender. That even worlds with no light, no companion, no star to lean on, can still hold on to their own fragile warmth. And because of that, humans can too. You can too. You are not alone, not abandoned, not swallowed by darkness. Because right now, you have a body growing lighter, a breath growing warmer, and a gentle voice drifting beside you in this peaceful, cosmic night. If you pay attention, you'll notice that every planet, whether harsh or gentle, carries its own story. Not a story to learn, but a story to feel, like the way you feel a sad but beautiful song, or a dark but profound painting. So as you observe these worlds, There's nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to analyze. Just let your mind loosen. Let the strangeness of the universe pass by like a cool night breeze. Let go of whatever you've been holding. Because those worlds, whether blazing hot, pitch black, or wandering alone, are only small pieces of a vast universe where all of us are drifting quietly together. And now, before we continue toward the jeweled skies and the super-Earths waiting ahead, take a slow inhale and a soft exhale. Feel your body sinking into the bed, like a planet returning to its calm, steady orbit. Feel your mind lightening, like ice melting under the gentle glow of a distant star. You are still here, you are safe, and the journey is long, but there is never any need to rush. We will drift onward, softly and deeply, whenever you are ready. As we slowly drift away from the shadowy region where the lonely wanderers still keep a faint warmth within their cores, you may feel the space around the ship grow just a little lighter, as if, after witnessing worlds swallowed by darkness, both your eyes and your heart have become more sensitive to light, even the smallest, thinnest glimmers. And then, before you, a band of color appears. Not the light of stars, not the glow of scorching gases, but shimmering hues scattered as though filtered through countless crystals. The ship slows, and you instinctively tilt your head, as if your spirit has been gently tugged forward by a thread of calm. This is the moment we step into, a region of the universe where the sky itself is a vast treasure. You look through the window. The sky ahead is painted with colors Earth has never known. Ruby red as deep as wine, sapphire blue clear as the ocean floor, and rich amethyst blending softly with the night. It isn't the light of sunset, nor the glow of burning gas. It is light shaped by minerals, quite literally. On these planets, the clouds are not formed by water vapor, but by corundum, the mineral that becomes ruby and sapphire. When starlight passes through these mineral clouds, it bends and scatters into breathtaking colors, as though someone had lifted a giant jewelry box to the sky. Can you imagine how a night beneath such a sky would look? A night full of gemstones. A night where every breeze feels like a gentle hand turning a handful of glowing jewels. And beneath that jeweled sky lie the world scientists call super-Earths. But don't picture them as terrifying giants. Think of them as homes with foundations far sturdier than Earth's. Stronger gravity means thicker atmospheres. A more solid crust means gentler winds. Even falling meteorites cause less harm. If Earth were a strong, healthy adult, then super-Earths would be the older siblings, calm, steady, quietly powerful. You might even imagine that if life existed there, it would grow within a long, peaceful stability. No turmoil, no excess chaos. A world wrapped in a blanket-thick layer of air. Thinking about that, you may feel your own breath deepen slightly, as though you too are being held in that stability. No rush, no force pulling you, only slowness and ease. But the universe is not always gentle. In some places, time, the thing we assume we understand, bends like a soft ribbon. There are planets that orbit their stars so quickly that a year is shorter than a day. You wake up, and you're already entering a new year. You close your eyes for a short nap, and the seasons have changed. Everything turns pages, like a book flipped by a swift breeze. And you might wonder, if someone lived there, would they ever feel the slow drift of life? Or would everything whirl endlessly, like a dance that never stops? Yet elsewhere in the universe, planets move so slowly that a winter could last longer than a human lifetime. Imagine being born into snow, growing up in snow, holding someone's hand, loving them, sharing warmth in the frozen air, and leaving the world having never once seen spring. A different kind of loneliness. Not the loneliness of darkness, but the loneliness of thick, unmoving time. And still, even in such endless winters, life's warmth could spark, because in the end, where stability exists, the door to life is never fully closed. Now, let me bring you a little closer. Not with knowledge, but with your own breath. Out there, time distorts, stretching or shrinking like a rubber band. But here, in this very moment, you only need to allow time to slow down. Not as fast as those wildly spinning planets, not as vast as those 1,000-year winters, just slow enough for a peaceful sleep to begin. Inhale softly, exhale gently. You are in your own moment, a place where time asks nothing of you, and you don't have to chase the rhythm of any star. We will continue through many worlds, but right now, simply let your body settle, like a tiny glowing speck drifting through that jeweled sky. As the ruby and sapphire hues fade behind you like lipstick blown from the sky, something strange happens. Despite just leaving those gemstone worlds, the space ahead becomes darker, quieter, vast in a way almost impossible to name. But it is not a frightening emptiness. It is a darkness with intelligence, as though holding countless secrets in its depths. You might imagine that within this very darkness, humans, small, fragile, learned how to listen to the universe, not with eyes, not with ears, but through the delicate shifting of light, like the interrupted breath of someone sinking into deep sleep. Now imagine sitting inside a silent control room, with no footsteps, no loud machinery, only a screen before you, dark as a midnight lake, with a thin line of light running across it, trembling slowly, like the heartbeat of the universe. It isn't light your eyes can directly perceive. It is light translated into signals, into numbers, into a gentle graph, so that you can see something you were never meant to see with the naked eye. Your breath softens, your heartbeat quiets, and then everything begins. On the screen, the light dips, just a little, barely enough to notice, as if someone placed a single strand of hair on a passing breeze. To the untrained eye, it's meaningless, but to astronomers, it's the soft knock of a distant world. The transit method. They call it the crossing. When a tiny planet far away glides in front of its star, the star's light dims ever so slightly, like someone passing quietly in front of a candle in a dark room. No wind, no sound, just a delicate shadow drifting through light. It's a perfect metaphor. In the infinity of the cosmos, where sound does not exist, a world can reveal itself through a momentary blink of starlight. We don't see the planet, but we know it's there, because of a small flicker that lasts only a few hours. Then the line on the screen begins to sway differently, not downward, but left and right, like someone gently plucking a string. This is radio velocity. Hard to explain, but imagine this. The star is not still. Its planet pulls on it gently, tugging it in a small orbit, like a child tugging a parent's hand to show them something. The tugs are so tiny that if the star were next to Earth, we might not notice. But when the starlight is split into its spectrum, the delicate bands shift, redward, then blueward, like faint floorboards creaking under the softest footsteps. In that moment, even without seeing the planet, we hear it, not with ears, but with light. The faint shift of spectral lines tells us a world is there, like hearing the quiet breathing of someone sleeping in the next room. Small, steady, but undeniably alive. and sometimes another signal appears. Long tails of evaporating gas trailing behind a planet, visible only in ultraviolet light. When a star heats a planet's atmosphere, it can blow the gases away into a thin plume, like silk drifting in space. From afar, those silvery plumes waver, like cold light moving through deep water. All of them are signals, not signals of sound, but of existence. When you look at those lines of light, you might suddenly find yourself wondering, how did humans ever come up with methods this delicate? But if you listen a little deeper, you'll realize they are not so different from your own breath. Try placing a hand on your chest and feeling. Your heartbeat shifts ever so slightly. Your breath rises and falls like a soft graph. Your body is sending signals all the time. It's just that you rarely have enough stillness to hear them. Astronomers are the same. They simply listen. Listen to the tiniest changes. Listen to the quiet. Listen to the darkness between the light. And because of that, they know that somewhere, among billions of stars, there are worlds still turning, even if the human eye will never see them. In the end, you look back at the screen in front of you, the line of light still there, like one long, slow breath. You suddenly sense that, to understand the universe, we don't always need powerful signals. Sometimes, all it takes is a very gentle flicker, a small wobble, a tender breath. When we are quiet enough, everything tells its own story. So when you notice your eyelids growing heavy, that too is a signal. A signal from your body, from your mind, saying that you're ready to step into another world, the world of sleep. The universe is listening to you as well. Not rushing, not pushing, simply observing, the same way you've been observing those little pulses of light on the screen. As the last traces of light on the control panel slowly fade, you feel the room returning to a darkness as soft as velvet. The silence becomes so clear that you can hear your own breath drifting slowly through your chest. In the previous part, you learned how to decode the dark, to listen to signals so faint they were almost invisible, coming from distant worlds. And now that your mind has grown familiar with such subtlety, the universe begins to open another door, wider, stranger, and beautiful in a way that's hard to believe. Imagine that listening to the darkness was only the first step. Now, as the night grows gentle and your breathing has slowed enough to blend with the breathing of space, you are invited to step out of that room into a wider sky, a place where light is no longer simply bright or dim, but can overlap, twist, or dance according to rules unlike anything on Earth. This is when the strange star systems appear. Picture yourself standing on the surface of an unfamiliar planet, where the sky isn't lit by just one sun, but by 3 suns shining at once. Light doesn't fall from a single direction, but from many. Your shadow doesn't rest neatly at your feet. It stretches into 3 branches, overlapping like ink strokes on a sheet of white silk. Morning doesn't arrive in a single hue, but as an interweaving of 3 tones: soft gold, pale white, and amber. Sunset stretches out like a piece of music that never truly ends, because as one sun sinks, the other 2 continue to light up the sky. You begin to feel something strange and gentle. In places with many suns, night almost doesn't exist. Not with a harsh, blinding brightness, but with a light that hovers, quiet and hazy, as if the universe never really wanted this place to be fully dark. And in that dreamy glow, your mind becomes lighter, as though you're standing at the border of 3 dreams at once. Then you leave that planet and drift deeper into space, to places where light no longer comes from living stars, but from the corpses of stars, still holding on to a fragment of their radiant souls. First, there is the white dwarf, tiny but incredibly dense, glowing like a coal that has burned for a very long time and is now slowly cooling. It looks like an old oil lamp that has shone through countless nights, now left with only a quiet ember, fading, but beautiful in a patient sort of way. Then you encounter a neutron star. If we could hear them, perhaps they would sound like fireworks compressed over thousands of years, like wood cracking in a winter night, or like rhythmic claps echoing from some far-off hall. Their light is not steady, it blinks in pulses, like the heartbeat of a being caught between sleep and waking. Most special of all are pulsars. They emit beams of light in perfectly timed pulses, beat by beat, over and over, slow and exact, like a cosmic clock marking time with light instead of metal hands. If you listen closely, each pulse feels like a gentle reminder. Time is still passing here. Whether you look or not, it keeps moving. You stand there, in the quiet of space, listening to a kind of sound that can only be felt with intuition. And suddenly you feel very small, but also very at peace. Then, among these unusual stars, you notice something stranger still. They're planets that orbit in the opposite direction to their star's rotation. Imagine watching a waltz. Every dancer turns in the same direction, smooth, graceful, circular. But then one person spins the other way, and the whole movement becomes uncanny. Strange, but not wrong. Different, but not destructive. In fact, that difference makes the dance more complex, more interesting. These planets don't care about the usual rules. They keep moving in their own way, spinning proudly, freely, proof that the universe accepts every direction, every rhythm, as long as they still flow within the greater symphony. Here, you're allowed to pause for a moment and breathe softly. Inhale and exhale, to realize that the oddities of the universe always have a place, just like you. Maybe you're not like everyone else. Maybe you don't turn the way the world expects. Maybe you felt out of sync, moving against the current, walking through a song others seem to understand while you're still searching for the melody. The universe, wider than all judgments, all comparisons, all pressures, is whispering something very gentle to you. Even if you are different, you still have your own place in the great symphony. 3 suns shining, dead stars still pulsing, planets spinning the wrong way. Each of them is strange in its own way, and all of them are accepted, kept exactly where they are, in the endless picture of space. You are the same. You don't need to be like anyone else. You don't need to reshape yourself to fit a mold. You only need to breathe softly and exist in your own way. The universe does not ask for much more than that. As this thought seeps into your chest like a warm breath, you feel your eyelids grow just a little heavier. The story doesn't end here. It is only inviting you to keep going, slowly, into even greater wonders, where extreme worlds and endless creativity are waiting for you in the next part. After the moment standing beneath 3 suns, after listening to the steady light pulses of a pulsar and watching planets spin backwards like stubborn dancers of the galaxy, you may feel something very deep. The universe never stops creating. It is not bound by the familiar rules we think we know. As you breathe in and then breathe out, very softly, you can feel your mind opening like a door, ready to step into a new realm. A place where your imagination, no matter how wide, can hardly keep up with the richness the universe is about to reveal. If the previous part was the waltz of misfits, then this part is like an entire symphony, where each note is an extreme planet, each melody is a phenomenon that breaks the patterns of life and matter as we know them. Step in slowly with me. Imagine that in front of you is an old album, bound in soft leather, its edges slightly worn as if it has been opened millions of times. But instead of holding old family photos, this album holds strange worlds. Planets that, at first glance, you might think were created by the imagination of a science fiction painter, and yet they are all real. You open the first page. Here, you see a giant sphere, but so light that if there were an ocean big enough, it could float on its surface. These are the puffy planets. Their atmospheres swell with heat, making them look like balloons drifting in the void. Looking at them, you might feel a very gentle lesson. Sometimes, the things that seem the largest are actually the lightest. Just like the worries in your heart, big, yet when you touch them, they turn out to be only thin layers of air. You turn to the next page. In contrast to that lightness, there are planets so dense that if you were to place your foot on their surface, the gravity could crush you in an instant. The iron inside them is squeezed so tightly, it becomes a form of matter we have never seen on Earth. Looking at them, you suddenly understand that the universe creates both, places light as clouds, and places heavy like a box of memories you cannot open. And in the breath you exhale, both of those things exist side by side, peacefully. Turning the page again, you encounter mini Neptunes, worlds that sit between rock and gas. They may hold oceans so deep that the pressure makes water stop being water. These may boil at the bottom, or hot ice may drift like glowing lanterns. You look at them and see the beauty of contradiction, like how humans can be both strong and fragile, rational and emotional, both a calm sea and a rising wave. You thought ice was only white. In the universe, ice can carry the colors of memory. Blue like methane, purple like nitrogen, pale yellow like frozen ammonia. Fields of ice stretch for thousands of kilometers, silent, with no wind and no footprints. If you close your eyes for a moment, you might hear that coldness. Not a biting, painful cold, but a soft cold, like wool brushing your skin on a winter morning. There are planets with rings so vast that, when seen from afar, the rings themselves can block the light of the parent star. These rings are not thin circles like Saturn's, but entire fields of rock, ice, and dust, so wide that even a star's light is swallowed up inside them. When you look at this scene, you understand what it feels like for a world to have its own shadow, a shadow more beautiful than any light. In some places, dust storms last for decades. In others, the sky pours down raindrops made of hot metal, chiming on the ground before evaporating. Elsewhere, volcanoes don't spew fire, but water ice, bursting into shimmering streams that glitter like fireworks in a winter night. These scenes would be terrifying to live in, but seen from a distance, they look like an ancient dance, choreographed by the universe itself. In the album, you see swirls of dust forming rings, the birthplace of a planet coming into existence. Then you turn another page and see scattered fragments, the remains of a world torn apart by gravity. This birth and death are not noisy. They happen in silence, like your breath, drifting from deep inside your chest to the world outside. There are planets that formed even before our sun was born. And there are moons, exomoons, following giant planets like children trailing behind their mother on an endless road. Watching them, you feel something very soft. The universe is so vast that everything, large or small, is tied together by an invisible thread. When you look back at that album, you realize something. The universe is like a great artist, never running out of ideas. From the simple concept of a planet, it creates millions of variations. Puffy, dense, spinning fast, spinning slow, bright, dark, warm, cold, stable, chaotic, on track, off track. Just like your own mind, capable of creating countless dreams each night. And tonight, as your eyelids begin to grow heavy, as your breathing becomes soft, you can invite a gentle dream to come and sit beside you, like an old friend who has been waiting for a very long time. All you need to do is breathe. The universe will take care of the rest. As the final pages of the cosmic album close, you can still feel the faint afterglow of everything you have just seen. Puffy planets like balloons, rings that hide their own stars, dust storms that last for years. All of it still lingers somewhere in your memory, like specks of light not yet dissolved into the dark. And yet, instead of making your mind heavy, they do the opposite. They open up a soft, spacious place where imagination can stretch out and your heart can grow lighter, little by little. You exhale very slowly, and right at that gentle moment, our journey quietly shifts into an old question that never loses its beauty. Are there other Earths out there? This question doesn't make you more awake. It makes you calmer, like when someone softly asks about something that has been in your heart for a very long time. Imagine the universe as a field so vast it has no end, where stars sprout like silent flowers. If each star is a seed of life, then the number of planets in the Milky Way could be greater than the number of flowers in a spring meadow. So many that with just a single blink of your eye, in the darkness where your gaze does not reach, there may already be millions of other worlds orbiting their own suns. And among them, surely there must be some places as warm as morning breath, as moist as a light autumn rain, as peaceful as that moment when you realize you finally let go of something heavy inside you. Those worlds, those other Earths, may have oceans shimmering under starlight, soft winds gliding over their surfaces, or green valleys waiting for a first footprint. They might resemble Earth, or be even more beautiful, in ways your imagination has not yet touched. It could also be that in some very distant corner of the galaxy, so distant that light itself needs millions of years to arrive, there is a civilization that existed long before humans learned to ignite fire, long before our oldest stories were ever told. A civilization that once looked up at their sky and wondered if someone, somewhere, was looking back at them. Or perhaps, somewhere else, another world is only just beginning, like Earth 4 billion years ago, a damp, quiet rock, where life is just beginning to stir from the mud, like a first breath. Just thinking about that makes your heart soften. Not out of fear, but from the feeling of being part of something larger, wider, gentler than you ever believed. Now, let me gently bring you a little closer to home. Imagine this. Earth, the place where you are lying right now, is just a tiny blue dot spinning in the dark. From far away, it is not noisy, not chaotic, not rushed. It just turns. Each rotation is a day, a night, a soft cycle you are living through. And you, with all your stories, your pressures, your paths walked so far, are really just a light breath on the surface of this planet. A brief breath, yet full of colors, emotions, memories, hopes, and dreams that still haven't found a name. If you relax a little more, you'll feel this quiet miracle. Whether you are awake or asleep, worried or calm, the universe keeps going. Planets keep spinning, stars keep burning. Worlds keep forming and fading away. Streams of light drift like the breathing of a giant being in its sleep. That means you don't have to hold on to anything right now. You don't have to control the orbit of your life tonight. You don't have to solve the big questions before you fall asleep. All you need to do is allow yourself to rest. Truly rest. Gently rest. Deeply rest. And when you feel ready, let this lullaby bring our gentle journey to a close. If your eyes have begun to grow heavy, let them close. You don't have to chase any star. You are already part of the universe. And this universe is always wide enough to hold you. Breathe more slowly. A little, and then a little more. Let every worry dissolve into the soft darkness between the stars. Tonight, The universe is keeping watch, and the only thing you need to do is sleep deeply.